So let's start with a simple one in which there are only two obvious alternatives, and a decision I'm sure you made first thing this morning, whether or not to get out of bed when you first woke up. We're going to use this chart as a convenient graphic organizer, and I think you'll find that it helps make the opportunity cost decision more concrete. Now, since this is about choice, the first thing is that we have to have a decision maker. That would be you. And just a brief reminder of economic reasoning proposition number 1 here. It's people who choose, not governments, not societies, not countries, people. Yes, sometimes they act in groups, sometimes they act individually, but still, it's people, not amorphous entities or forces. Next, we have to identify the alternatives the decision maker considers. For many decisions, there are numerous alternatives, and the first step is to narrow down the possibilities to 2. In this get up now decision, that's easy, which is why it's a good example to start with. So you can either get up now or not get up now. With more complex decisions, what to do this weekend, for example, the decision maker may have and may consider literally hundreds of alternatives. Okay, now note that the considered part is important here. If the decision maker didn't consider it, it wasn't part of the process. Now that's particularly interesting to think about with historical decisions. Ask why someone didn't consider a particular alternative, for example. Anyway, when there are lots of alternatives, we have to prioritize them and narrow it down to the top 2. But we can skip that in this example because we're starting with a choice that really has only 2 alternatives. All right, so consciousness hits your brain and you consider your 2 alternatives. Get up now or not get up now. To make the choice, you think about the benefits of each alternative. Start with getting up now. Is that a good alternative? Are there benefits? Well, I can think of a lot of them. Going for a run, taking the dog for a walk, reading the newspaper before work, stopping at the coffee shop, generally not having to rush. Your list may be different, and that's okay. Remember, you are listed as the decision maker at the top of the grid. So it's not my perception of the benefits that matters. Okay, now, what about the other alternative, not getting up now? Are there benefits to that? More sleep. 10 minutes until the snooze buzzes. Well, that's about it for my list. Only one benefit on the list. I guess that makes the choice clear, right? Not so fast. That's another reason this is such a good illustration of opportunity cost. It shows that what matters is how much you, remember, you are the decision maker, how much you value the benefits on the 2 lists. It doesn't matter how long the lists are. I can think of times when I definitely value that 10 extra minutes of sleep more than all the benefits of getting up right away. And I'm sure you could too. Okay, so you compare the benefits and choose one alternative. Now, note that there are still only 2 alternatives, even though each one has a list of benefits. When you choose one opportunity, say, to not get up now, you give up the next best opportunity, the opportunity to get up now. Your choice comes with benefits, but the next best alternative had benefits too, and giving up that alternative, you refused the benefits. So in my chart, I'm going to have the benefits of the foregone alternative migrate over into the refused box. Okay, so there's nothing correct or inevitable about my choice. If, on the other hand, you choose to get up now, you'd get the benefits, enjoy your cup of coffee on the way to work. Having refused the benefit of the extra sleep by hitting the snooze alarm and not getting up now. Opportunity cost analysis isn't about determining whether someone made a good choice or a bad choice. It's about understanding why and how the person made his decision by looking at what he perceived to be his alternatives, the benefits of those alternatives, and the value he placed on those benefits. And that opportunity cost isn't always the same. I might value those benefits differently on a day when I'm headed to the airport for vacation than I would on a rainy Saturday. Okay, so just to recap, my alternatives are to get up now or not get up now. If I choose to not get up now, and by the way, that doesn't mean I'll never get up. I have to face that same decision in 10 minutes when the snooze buzzes. Anyway, if I choose to not get up now, then my opportunity cost is the next best alternative, the opportunity to get up now. And since I don't get up now, I don't get the benefits that opportunity offers. Think about it this way. Choosing is actually refusing, isn't it? You narrow down to the two best opportunities, each of which seems to be good, each of which has benefits, and in order to choose one, you have to refuse the other. All right, we'll wrap up this portion of Lesson 1 with a few caveats to keep in mind when you're using opportunity cost analysis. First, if you don't know what next best is, you don't know what the opportunity cost is. It works like this. Suppose I choose to get up now. My next decision is what to do after I get up. The alternatives are walk the dog, check my email, read the newspaper, or cook a pancake breakfast. If I decide to check my email, what's the opportunity cost? Answer? You don't know. Because although you know what I could have done if I hadn't checked my email, you don't know what I would have done because you don't know how I prioritize the other alternatives. Opportunity cost isn't all the opportunities you didn't take. It's only the next best one, the one you would have done. Second caveat, only the considered alternatives matter. Notice that scrubbing the kitchen floor wasn't on my list of alternatives at all. It's not an option I considered. So it's not part of the equation and can't be the opportunity cost of checking my email. Now, if you saw my kitchen, you might think it should have been on my list of alternatives. But opportunity cost comes from what I put on the list of alternatives, not what you think they should be. And this is particularly important when applying opportunity cost analysis to historical inquiry. If we're going to understand the choice that was made, we have to look at it through the decision maker's eyes, not with the extra information we might have long after the fact. Third caveat, opportunity cost is not the same thing as consequence. Economic thinking recognizes that choices are made in light of an unknown future. So the full burden of the opportunity cost occurs only after the decision is made. Suppose that if I hadn't checked the email, I'd have walked the dog. So the opportunity cost of checking my email is that I gave up the opportunity to walk the dog. I refused all the benefits that went along with it. Exercise for me, tiring the dog out for the day, enjoying a beautiful morning. At the time I made the decision, I evaluated those benefits and decided that checking the email was more valuable. Okay, but then it turns out that I forgot about a meeting at work and I can't stop by the house at lunch to let the dog out like I usually do. I get home in the evening to find out that the unexercised dog has chewed up my favorite pair of slippers that I left by the door. Question. Are the ruined slippers an opportunity cost of my decision to check my email? Now think about this carefully, because this is one of the easiest mistakes to make when using opportunity cost analysis on historical decisions. The chewed up shoes are a consequence, not a cost, of my choice to check the email. It's that unknown future thing. Sure, I knew that one of the benefits I gave up was tiring out the dog, and I evaluated that in making my choice. I didn't say to myself, if I check my email, the dog will chew up my shoes. And we can't go back and add unchewed slippers to the list of benefits after the fact. I mean, that would be like saying, The opportunity cost of Abraham Lincoln choosing to go to Ford's Theater was his life. Okay, so if staying home was Lincoln's next best alternative, it's reasonable to assume that one of the benefits he considered was that there would be less risk than going out in public. But it's not reasonable to assume that his list of benefits said, not get shot. Lincoln's death was a consequence of his choice, not an opportunity cost. And in applying opportunity cost analysis to historical decision makers, we have to be careful not to read back into their decisions information they didn't have, but we do. Final caveat. There's no such thing as a free lunch. All choices have costs. We have a tendency to think of choices as between good and bad. But if you look at your own life, you'll probably find that that is rarely the case. And it might be why choices are often difficult. The process of narrowing down alternatives means that you end up trying to choose the best of two good alternatives or the least bad of two bad alternatives, not good over bad. The economic conception of human nature is that it's self-interested. So we're always seeking out our best alternatives and then having to choose from among them. Okay, time to test yourself on opportunity cost, and then we've set the stage for the journey of choices made by leaders of the Soviet Union. The raffle ticket you got for going to the local school carnival is a winner, and you get to choose between tickets with backstage passes to an upcoming concert by your favorite band, or box seats for the home opener of your favorite sports team. They're on the same day, which also, coincidentally, is the day of your boss's snotty daughter's wedding. Jackpot! You have an excuse to skip the wedding. You take the opening day tickets and call your best friend. Question 1. What's the opportunity cost of the sports tickets? Hopefully, you said the opportunity to go to the concert. Clearly, going to the wedding was something you could have done, but in this situation, it wasn't one of your considered alternatives. The concert was your next best alternative. Question 2, and be careful. Were the sports tickets free? No. You could only have one set of tickets or the other. So you had to give up the concert tickets to get the sports tickets. Choosing's refusing, remember? And the concert tickets were something you considered and refused. Think of it as the raffle director putting both sets of tickets in your hand and then telling you to give back the ones you don't want. Definitely not free. You had to give up something. And if it was a difficult choice to decide which tickets to give back, then we also know that the concert tickets you gave up were almost, but not quite, as valuable to you as the sports tickets you gained. Question 3. When you get into a wreck in the madhouse traffic jam on game day, is that an opportunity cost of choosing the sports tickets? Again, big fat no. The best we can do is to call it an unintended consequence and caution you to factor in the traffic next time you consider the benefits of having opening day tickets. All right, I hope you're ready.